Good morning, YouTube. Russia has an all-new electric car that Vladimir Putin is calling the Tesla Killer.
That's the best name. That's the best marketing ploy ever.
I will crush you with this car. You ready?
No.
Brace yourself.
No. That's not real.
That's it?
That is not a real car. That is not a real car.
It is called the Amber, and it is the ugliest thing I have ever seen.
This can't be real.
Not only is it the ugliest thing I've ever seen, it's really stupid. It's a two-door, two-seat electric car where you're sat up high like an SUV, but it has no cargo capacity because everything's in the back. It has no rear windows, so you can't see out the back. It comes apart like a toy.
You know what it reminds me of is that car you have that I really don't care for.
What, the HHR?
Yes, the panel, the HHR panel truck. It looks like it's like a different version of that. Like from another planet, though.
Let me show you a picture here of, here's some more pictures of different angles here, but you can see the whole back half of the car is just dead space for all the EV stuff. There's two coolant bottles. They look like Volkswagen style kind of Death Star discs sitting there.
Yeah.
And then you can see all the battery things and a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. The suspension, like the strut brace there, it's sticking up.
I didn't believe it could be real until you showed me this picture because it would be too much to kind of recreate something like
And
this.
then look how it's clipped on, this piece. It's like a NASCAR hood that's designed to be pulled off, like a really flimsy, just these clips right here.
Maybe this is a prototype and they haven't put all the pieces together correctly.
Apparently they're going to start building this car because with all of the Russia-Ukraine war stuff, they've been embargoed to where automakers that were building cars in Russia have pulled out. These idle factories need to start building something, and apparently this is the answer. And that nose, like, at least is probably good for pedestrian impacts because of the way the bumper sticks out. But
It
the
looks
headlights,
like it's just plastic.
well, it is.
It's just
It's
a
hideous. Like the
bunch-
wheels.
The wheels are tiny. The headlights are minuscule. I right now feel bad for any female that is named Amber because now when I meet you, this is what the image is going to be in my head.
They plan to build 50,000 of these in 2025. And there's not much word on the specs of it as far as the range and things, how it's a Tesla killer, but
I mean, why is the hood designed like that? I'm wondering
I don't
what's
know.
in there. Like, what do they have excessive batteries in there with heaters around them because it's so cold in Russia?
No, it's all in the back, and it's all one piece too, because it looks like if you hit the nose, you take out the entire nose. It doesn't have like a one piece that's just the bumper or whatever, because it's the front quarter panel, the hood, like everything is all one molded piece. And the only thing I can think of is for like pedestrian impacts and the regulations there to where it's a little bit safer, even though it sits higher. But it's just, like Russians and cars have never gone together. They built like the Lada and just terrible, terrible cars. And this will be, if they actually make it, might be the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
Which, so here's the thing, it's like I appreciate that I feel like they're starting from scratch. They're not like, oh, let's make it look like this and this and this. It's its own thing, and I like when designers do that because they're taking a risk, and it's hard to do that. I mean, this is a terrible risk to take.
It's hideous. And I was just curious for reference on if there is something out there that has been built that is uglier. And I know you would think of a few, you know, you don't like the SSR, the HHR, the Prowler, but they're better looking than this, obviously. And I saw a list actually on Motor Trend where they listed some of the ugliest cars of all time. 30-something cars that they thought were hideous.
Right.
But Motor Trend, their taste is not very good. I mean, they canceled my show, which is the best show on television, Car Issues.
They don't know what they're talking about.
They don't know what they're talking about. But I mean, it's a list on Motor Trend, you know, so we can click through it. So I think it goes from oldest to newest in the years. So the first one goes back to 1932, the Stout Scarab.
I love it!
Looks like it had a Ford flathead V8, which is pretty cool.
To come out in 1932 with something I think it looks that cool, because the cars in the 30s didn't look anything like that.
Named for an Egyptian dung beetle. I think it's pretty neat.
What?
That's what the name is, yeah.
Why would they name it
I don't know.
that?
So next is the 46 Crossley CC. So the same year they made My Town and Country, they made this, which has a little bit of an accent that it's not wood, but yeah, they were trying.
Looks like a false Woody.
Yep.
Okay, what's next?
Let's see.
And they got a little Bel Air hood ornament on there.
Yeah, they were trying, but it was definitely a cheap crappy car.
Right.
Post World War II
Got the
thing.
baby moon hubcap.
The Allard P2 Safari, which, you know,
Whoa.
Allard was a race car builder, had some beautiful cars. This is
See,
a
I
Woody?
like this. I think it's cool. I
Yeah.
love the little, I don't know, the fender skirts, and it's just the wood detail, and it looks long and lean. The front end looks super long.
I don't think it's ugly. I like Woodies, so I just naturally like that car. I don't
Right.
think it's ugly at all. Next, the 58 Ford Thunderbird, the square bird, which was universally hated because
Yeah.
the 55, 57 Thunderbirds were beautiful, the baby
Right,
birds.
right.
These have
But
never
I
been
think
loved.
people are starting to appreciate these, and they're starting to like them more now.
They're still not worth any money, and I do agree that it's not as pretty as the
Right.
earlier ones, but it's not one of the ugliest cars of all time.
Right.
Certainly not. Next, the Lincoln Continental in 1958. Same kind
Whoa.
of styling exercise of that era.
No, this is
It's not
wrong.
ugly.
Because I don't like it because Lincoln did such a great job. There's so many just sweet Lincolns out there where this one just misses the mark. For
A
me.
few years later, with the like the Kennedy era, the
Yes.
60s Continentals,
Killed it.
beautiful cars.
Right.
Here they're trying to keep up with the fins and everything, and
Yeah.
Lincoln definitely
Well, and
struggled.
they're trying to make it look like a convertible top, even though it's a hard top, and
Well,
it's just
squared
not
off
working.
too. Yeah. So next on the list, the Subaru 360.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
See, I like that.
Little
I don't-
Japanese miniature car. There's nothing wrong with that. It's fine. It looks like a Fiat 500, kind of.
with some
Yeah.
personality.
No, that one's fine.
I like
The
it.
Citroen Amy 6 with
Is
the
that-
weird. I remember this for the weird back.
I thought there was something wrong with
No.
the photo, like something was standing in front of it. That's actually the back of it.
Yep.
Looks like a car from the future.
Right. That one's weird, but it's not ugly.
It reminds me of a boat, kind of,
Yeah.
with like a canopy on it. I dig it. I think that's
Very
cool.
French. Next, the
Whoa.
65 Rambler or the AMC Marlin.
Interesting. Okay.
And sort of the first generation Charger had
Right.
this look too before the 68 to 70 Chargers that everybody loves.
Right.
I didn't think it looked that bad.
I don't think it looks
personally.
that bad. I like that there's no, B-pillar,
Yeah,
and the
pillarless,
trim
yeah.
kind of runs around the back window, and there's just a lot of styling in it.
Not ugly.
I
mean-
wouldn't call it ugly. I would love to drive this.
People would rather have that era, but these are much more affordable. You had the 440, you had the Hemi, like good car, I think. Next is the Lombardi Grand Prix, which I have never heard of.
No, I've
so,
never heard of it.
let's see.
They're huge vent window.
Yeah.
Massive. It looks like one windshield wiper. I love the pointed front that comes down. See, I wouldn't call this one of the ugliest cars.
Yeah, well, it's an Italian 843cc, 47 horsepower Fiat engine. I imagine mid-engine because there's that bump in the back there. So a way to make a very cheap mid-engine Italian car
Yeah.
that I would say missed the mark. It
Right.
does. It doesn't look pretty. Yeah,
I don't
agree.
mind it.
The Marcos
Whoa.
Mantis M70, another
What?
ar I have never heard of. A
is
weird
that?
shooting brake, kind of like the Ferrari FF I had, or
Yeah.
a BMW Clown Shoe.
Yeah.
Not
I
bad.
like the rear window kind of comes up like little hips in the back over the back wheel there. That's kind of a neat design. And just that bumper up front, was that mandated?
Yeah, those have been the impact bumpers. Yeah.
The huge impact bumpers up
So
front.
they managed to sell 32 of these monstrosities in a 2-year period. That's what Motor Trend
Okay,
says. So
okay.
very rare. But,
Interesting.
yeah, not well loved. The AMC Matador.
Matador. Just looks like every other muscle car. Well, not in 1974.
Yeah, they were
but
all getting cheaper and smaller. Yeah. Wheezy. That is a terrible car, but I wouldn't say it's hideous.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's hideous. It's
No.
interesting with the circular headlights. It kind of throws me off because it has this huge muscle car look, and it's just not
Stop
completely
clawing.
there.
I-
We're
stop
in
it.
love.
Stop it.
That's my girl.
All right. Yeah, the AMC Matador from the back. It's cool. Not a great car, but not hideous.
Right.
And a Triumph TR7, that's terrible. Really? That's on the list? I mean, yeah, the impact bumpers ruined it.
They
It has
totally
a
ruined it.
weird body line, obviously, going down the side. But
The wheels kind of throw it away for me too. They could have done something
Right,
a little
I
more
think-
exciting.
I think they had a Ford V8 in these. Yeah,
I
they're
like
okay.
the body line on the side. That kind of gives it some, looks a little faster. I would still love to drive all of these. See, I
Yeah,
love ugly
so-
cars because they can be fun to drive.
Well, not all these are ugly. So far, not too bad. Next is the Aston Martin Legando.
Okay,
which
so
is criminal.
if you brought this though to a car show, everyone would stop and look at it.
The problem is it would never make it. It was.
Really?
I don't think there's one still on the road with this digital dashboard that still works.
Oh,
but
that would be sweet.
They were very unreliable, but they are very cool looking.
Looks like it got smushed in the
Yeah,
front.
you know, the Maserati Quattroporte of this era had the same sort of look in this, and I think they're cool cars.
They're really
This
cool.
wedge shape of the 70s was definitely a theme that did not age well. It's not a
Right.
timeless design, but it's
Right.
not ugly. 1976 Rolls-Royce, I've never had to pronounce that before on camera. Camargue?
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 Just have to say it really fast.
I don't know.
Camargue.
Yeah, I've seen it and read it, but I've never had to say it before.
Yeah.
And that is a pretty hideous Rolls-Royce.
That's pretty bad. And you know, looking through all the cars, I probably would put this on the top of the list.
It is a refrigerator with a Rolls-Royce grill on it. Yes,
Yes, it looks like an appliance.
Yep. Pretty bad.
It's bad.
Next, the Cadillac Cimarron. That is terrible. Where
Can we get one?
they one of the worst cars ever, where they finally
No.
started badge engineering Cadillac, which was a top-tier luxury brand, and then they have their cheap little Chevys, and they just put a Cadillac logo on it, put some leather in it, and slapped on the butt and said, "Here's your small Cadillac that you want."
It's so good.
Junk.
I mean, it has a little of the styling of those 80s cars that are really boxy. I would daily drive this.
Junk.
This
Hideous.
is sweet.
Hideous.
If
Definitely
you
one of the ugliest
see
cars
one,
ever.
please send it over.
Can you imagine just going back 10 years? If you
Yes.
were in a 1972 Cadillac and you went to this showroom in 1982
You'd be
to
like,
trade in your car.
What happened? I'm on an alternate
No.
planet right
No,
now.
it's never going
This
to happen.
would never be a Cadillac. You would never look at this and be like, I bet that's a Cadillac from far away.
I suppose
No.
that'd be the case today with Cadillac and
Yeah.
all the old people who have their old Cadillacs, the DTS, like your
Right.
dad, and they would go into the showroom and now Cadillac's all electric, or that's the brand, the
Yeah.
way they're going. They look at the cars and go,
Yeah. This is so
Similar
cool,
in
though.
1982.
So you wouldn't buy one of those
no.
if it came across your path?
Okay, here's another one that I've read but I've never had to say before.
Okay.
The 1985 Consuliere
Ooh.
GTP. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, turbocharged Chrysler, 190 horsepower. And
Looks like a plastic kit
it's
car.
a crappy kit car.
Yeah.
Yeah, not very cool. Not very good looking for
No.
sure.
Oh, this is the worst.
Yeah, it's the same brand, a different,
Ugh.
the GTP.
Is there
Yeah.
a hot tub in the back of it?
So
The only thing I like are the wheels. That's interesting.
it's cool. They made it out of Kevlar and carbon fiber rather than fiberglass. So they were trying to be a little bit more upscale, but still.
Gosh, and that front bumper just ruins so many cars.
Yeah. All right. Next is the Alfa Romeo SZ, which I think is a cool car.
The kind of front end looks like your Eldorado a little.
I suppose, but it's definitely another car that hasn't aged well, as in this is a timeless design that everybody will say elegant, but it just screams 80s.
Yeah.
They were taking a styling risk. It's weird. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's, I would say it's still cool. I wouldn't call it ugly.
I wouldn't call it ugly, but I'd rather buy that Cadillac.
The Cimarron? They never sold these in the United States, but it is one 25-year rule that I think would be a good one to bring in. Next
Yes!
is no!
These are my favorite.
The Dustbuster vans, the
These are
Lumina,
great.
Oldsmobile, Pontiac, and... Are
you crazy?
No!
Are you crazy?
Those are the coolest minivans of
That's
that
what
era.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is amazing. It should not be on this list. It should be on the most beautiful cars list.
Compared to like the Aerostar, the original one of the era, that's an uglier van. The K-Car van, the original Plymouth Voyager, Dodge Caravan, not as pretty or cool as this.
This is sweet.
These look like they got launched out of the Enterprise D
Yeah.
on a shuttle mission.
Yeah, these are
very
amazing.
cool.
Whoever designed that front end, you are an amazing person.
The Pontiac version was the coolest because it was ribbed for their pleasure. Whoever was driving the car. Yeah.
That is so good. I love these. Have you ever
Yeah.
owned one of those?
No, I have not.
No.
I have not. And Neelix
I'm
is
getting
really
attacked.
into your hair and your jacket.
Yeah.
Yes, your
So
Christmas
that's my
present, Buick
jacket. You know my Buick.
You can't claw April's hair, okay? All right. So here's the next car, a 1992 Buick Skylark, which has a beak. Another thing you would attack. It looks like a bird. Yeah. a
I'm not down
weird
with this
beak.
one.
And the advertising, they had this prominent artist at the time do these murals where he's sort of doing a design study with the beak of the Buick, and people were like, this thing's hideous. And
It's-
it was, but
Yeah.
actually Euro-Asian Bob had one recently, and
Yeah.
it was just kind of cool to see one preserved because
Right.
there aren't any left on the
Right.
road. So, Yeah, we're getting into the 90s. Now,
Oh.
95, the Oldsmobile Aurora.
Really?
That's a cool car.
You like that?
That's a cool car. Oldsmobile was trying to be cool, trying to make it look futuristic. Very Star Trek-y. Yeah, I thought it was neat.
No.
I liked it.
This deserves to be on the list. This is awful.
You think so?
Yeah, it's
I don't think so.
It's terrible.
And then this one I've never heard of,
Never
the
know what that is.
Estacion Coronado.
I don't know why something
Or
like this would be on the
Corando.
list, because I feel like there's so many cars that look similar. Like, it's just like a basic crossover
it's
look.
like a Korean Jeepy,
Right.
Jimny kind of knockoff.
Yeah.
Exactly. Geo Tracker. It is very similar to all those, but I do think it's uglier. That front fender is really weird.
Yeah.
That is awkward. Not hideous, I would say. That is hideous. The 1998 Fiat Multipla, that was
This is
roasted
real?
on Top Gear endlessly. Yeah, it's never sold in the United States. But yeah, the thing has a nose, a beak too, and very weird doors, very
What?
weird proportions. A little bit ahead of its time when it comes to that kind of like shape. It's sort of a crossover, but obviously doesn't look like modern crossovers, but
That
similar
looks
proportions as far
crazy.
as the spacious interior and that kind of stuff.
I mean, it looks like there's a lot of visual, you could see out of it really well. It's like a fishbowl up top there.
Yeah.
But that is number one on ugliest cars list, has to be this car.
It is pretty darn ugly.
That is the worst.
Next is the Renault Aventime.
Okay, maybe this is the worst one.
I think they had like sliding sort of van door. It was a very weird door system,
Yeah.
and then they're trying to make it. It's two doors, so it's not practical. It's hideous. The French definitely lost their way around the new millennium when
Right.
it came to cars. So they built some beautiful things before, Citroen and
Right,
stuff.
right.
So yeah, I don't know what happened to the French around this time, but that one is pretty bad. And we're going to American.
I just
the
thought-
Infiniti QX56 is on the list.
So where the C pillar is, and there's just like it's ending it, and it's like, oh, maybe I'm gonna be a pickup truck. No, maybe, and it's just like, oh, let's just tack on an extra little cubby in the back.
Right. The first few years of this very ugly, and then people were very upset by it, so they facelifted them. They changed them a lot to where I feel like they look a lot better. The modern version that's still, well, it's like a lot of things with Nissan products. They're going on 20 years old at this point without a serious engineering upgrade.
Right.
And they look okay, but yeah, this one pretty ugly, but pretty solid cars.
Oh, yeah.
2007 Jeep Compass.
Oh yeah, this should be on the list for sure.
Yeah, that is a terrible car, and it's an insult to Jeeps. Like, it has the Jeep grille, the headlights, and then everything else is just cheap, crappy crossover. Terrible. What is that?
What?
2008 Mitsuoka Galyu.
Ooh, okay, no, that's
So, Japanese car company trying to make something look retro Rolls-Royce, and
Right.
it is pretty darn ugly.
really, really, really bad.
I would say so. Pretty bad. And then the Aston Martin Signet. That's kind of funny.
I think it's cool.
That's cool. It's a smart car where Aston Martin got a hold of them and put their nose on it and sold them. It is neat.
I would
It's
try
not
that.
ugly, it's funny.
I think it's really funny,
I
and
like
it's
it.
really cute. They should throw that in some movies and stuff. I feel like that would be a star.
Yeah, okay. And then the Mini Cooper Coupe.
Why not? Why not make it a coupe?
Stupid. Really, really stupid. It does look dumb. I mean, it looks like it got caught in an accident and the roof got sawed off.
Yeah.
So it does look weird.
I
I
think
agree.
it's cute.
I don't think it's ugly, though.
No.
Jeep Cherokee, very, very ugly.
2014, yeah.
Yep. Whatever they were thinking, once again, Jeep crossovers insulting the name Cherokee
Right.
and what came before it.
Right.
But then, yeah, the look of it, just not attractive. And then they have the Rolls-Royce Cullinan on here, which is
I was
crazy.
surprised
I
that
think that's
they
a
put it
gorgeous car.
on.
For an SUV, I think.
Why do you think it's on here? Like, do they say anything about it?
Let's see, they're quoting Top Gear host Chris Harris famously said it looked like a Chinese knockoff of a Rolls-Royce.
Huh.
It's an assault on the ocular senses. Okay.
So he really dislikes it.
Huh. I would say the Bentley Bentayga is better looking and way cheaper
Right.
and faster,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't call that ugly. Is that the last one? Yeah, that's it. They missed a lot.
Well, what else would you add to this?
You wouldn't put the SSR on there?
Well, the SSR, the HHR, and the Prowler, of course. Top
Okay.
three.
I think they missed on the Subaru B9 Tribeca. Do you know what I'm talking
No.
about? Really, really ugly nose that they did for like 1 or 2 years. Okay, Alex, you have to get down so I can type. He's trying to type. There.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What year year was that? 2006.
Yeah, 2006, 7. These
What
came
were
out.
they
It was like their
thinking?
first full-size SUV with 3 rows of seating, and it had this nose that everybody was just like, "That's hideous." And it was one of those where everybody's screaming, "It's so ugly! It's so ugly! It's so ugly! You have to change it." And they finally did. I mean, they listened and they did. Like BMW. No, they're still making their buck teeth BMWs, and they're just gonna just don't care what we have to say.
Right.
Same with Lexus and making their gigantic Predator-looking grills and things.
Right.
Everybody hates it. It's hideous. I guess the Chinese like it, so we're gonna keep building it that way.
Right. This
yeah.
is awful. This is really bad. So can we get a dustbuster van
I would say so. That sounds like a good idea.
for our family
Yeah,
with Neelix?
thank you so much for watching.